that go? Will that be alright if I continue like this? Yeah, I'm more in darkness now. I bought a tree for Christmas, and it needs to be put out. Um, but I have the lights on it just for illumination, some type of illumination. Now I thought that it would be time for me to do an update. I think I'm right on the cusp of a new life. If I think about the accuracy of the Chinese theory of a 12-year cycle, then, it's about time for a new chapter. So I will say again, all psych drugs are neurotoxins which mutilate the brain and reduce life expectancy by a third. That's the truth. So I don't know how much time I have left, but I've been off these drugs for 22 years. And I know that those who stayed on them are likely dead already. I know that Jamie Montague died at 65. Jamie Montague, he was a Mormon. He's my friend. He was born at the end of April, and yeah, he was given shots in the bum, something called Modacaine, and he was called psychotic. He had vision problems, but towards the end he got diabetes, and he was put on Zyprexa, which fattens people up. I know that when they were giving me Zyprexa, I ballooned up to 200 pounds. I don't think I'm 200 pounds now, but I certainly did get big with all the lemon meringue pies, my nemesis, that Finley was getting by way of apology. The old Scot. Anyway, not had any lemon meringue pie since he died. Could be one of the reasons why I lost 70 pounds. Also the other efforts that I've been making, surely, It's interesting how life is, for some people, idyllic, and for others, it can be one bloody nightmare after another. But I've put in this time patiently. I've endured it well. I've been very brave and humble, and I haven't really stood up for myself as of yet. I mean, well, I have, but my channel is obscure. I haven't reached any fame, per se. But people should know how brave I've been, how patient, humble, trying to stay neutral. When, people scream at me thinking I'm a schizophrenic, stare at me with great fear because they think I'm going to eat their eyes, or I don't know, come after them with something when I'm not. And many people in my building know that I'm really badly injured. Really very badly injured. And not crazy at all. So, well, there are those who do not know me and believed Sokran's lies. Can't believe it. This woman screaming at the top of her lungs. Twice. Phony. Fake. enough experiences to fill a book. My friend Corinna says it could be a tome by this time. Yeah, she's quite right, but I've got to keep it simple. The most salient truths, experiences as I know them. And yeah, the truth about what psychiatric drugs do to people worldwide. They don't help. They make the patient worse and worse and worse. So yeah, Jamie Montague got diabetes from Zyprexa. And I think his heart failed him when he was 65. My mom was put on Valium and never taken off it. She died at 65. But, you know, no one in my family has come to the realization that the Valium was the reason for Mom's craving Johnnie Walker whiskey. Mom didn't even put the two together, but, you know, there were clinics like the Betty Ford Clinic where they knew that the two were related. You know, get some Valium and you're gonna want hard liquor. And yeah, the thing is that Valium and the whiskey, hard liquor, placed Mom in this mind state of reaching nirvana, you know, pleasantly or unpleasantly intoxicated. So I do these videos for Mom too. Now, my own sister, she doesn't know that the Valium did that to Mom. I do, though. She doesn't know that these drugs are harmful. She should know. My cousin, the pharmacist, she should know now that these drugs cause mental illness and rapid cognitive decline. You know, so the reason I lost my inheritance is because I became incompetent. I became incompetent because of the drugs that my sister said I needed, due to this theory of a chemical imbalance, which is a myth. There's no blood test for it, although they are trying to make some kind of a blood test. I don't think they're going to succeed. And yeah, I did it again. Clearing my throat. It's only opinion. One psychiatrist's opinion. They can just shoot you down a precipice that gets slipperier and slipperier. And I do these videos for Carolyn Setlakwe. Carolyn Setlakwe was given a lot of shock treatments, you know, electrical circuits frying her brain. And I've been told that she's gone, she's dead. It's possible. But all the things that psychiatry did to her, I'm sure led to her demise. I'm sure of it. And Diane died on an operating table. They didn't even want to save her. Because people who are perceived as mentally ill are the dregs of society, the mistakes, the ones you want to get rid of, push off the face of the earth. But of course, um, Dr. Daniel Kraus, he knows he lied on my file. I know that I have verbatim exactly what he said in 2005. You were obviously misdiagnosed, Christy, from the very beginning. But since we can't see these injuries, and the government are sticklers and they're going to want to touch, see, and feel these injuries, we're going to put on your file that you're schizophrenic so that you can have the highest financial assistance from the government, so that you'll have enough time and enough money to heal these old injuries. So, yes, I was misdiagnosed from the very beginning, and this very beginning was the crushing blow of this hybrid draft horse on top of me. After a full-out gallop, a young horse, I was on him. We fell together. It's akin to a speedboat hitting rocks on water. So, the damage done to my body is, well, it's visible now for sure. It was so deep in my body, and it surfaced over time. And of course, I've been feeling it ever since, pretty well ever since coming off the psych drugs. My amendment to it being September of 2001 would be the start of the pain is because I was really not able to feel my body for the initial, I think, 9 months or 7 months, while I was, in initial withdrawal. And then I kept trying to get help, so that's why I went to the hypnotist, who looked at me like I was simply an aggravation, and, who was I to say hello to him? How dare I? Right. So then there's Dr. Mark Roper, who used to laugh at me. And then there's this tribunal at the Montreal General, and they excused Roper for not referring me because they're the ones who are disseminating these videos to the Sage Epson universities in these abnormal psych classes. So yeah, I've gone through these years meeting people, young ones, like in their 30s, who recognize me and, have that familiar smirk grin like Esteban Larata. And the person who I cleaned the house for, she had a young man living with her then. Very interesting, but anyway. An older woman, a teacher, and this young man was living there. Well, he recognized me when I came to clean the house, and I saw his goofy look on his face. Yeah, I just saw her in this film. Then, I was coming back home from a visit to the clinic, Brunswick Clinic in Pierrefonds, and I wanted a seat. I think I got a cedar branch from the little house that I had still, and it was in a backpack, and I couldn't get a seat from the two relatively young women. They looked like they could be from Indonesia. Anyway, they were looking at me like, oh yeah, recognize her, she's the crazy lady, right? So I'm living in a city where, you know, I can walk on the street and somebody's looking at me, and it's because they recognize me from these teaching films. It's all a cover-up. And Dr. Joel Powers saying that I'm mentally ill, because if I was bipolar in my 30s, that means I'm bipolar now, right? That's what my doctor believes. That's what my family doctor believes. Believes this shit. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. You know, in his ivory tower, he doesn't see what we at the grassroots level see and know, that these drugs are harming people. They say it. Oh yes, I've seen somebody. Yeah, it makes people zombies. These are professionals, like pastors of churches and other people who were in other workplaces. They know. But my own doctor, the cover-up continues. That's all I want to say. The mistakes that were done are big time from Western medicine, and they taught me not to trust them. You know, the dentist who took that poorly calcified tooth out, well, he's responsible for another tooth that I'm losing from my mouth, and I can hardly afford to lose any more teeth. As I've said in the past, you know, when they did the maxillofacial surgery, you know, 9 teeth were extracted. Yeah. You know. Yeah, this is what I've said to people on Facebook, is that psychiatry really just loves to make formerly pretty women, you know, as ugly as possible. They like to do that. And psychiatric drugs really do a number on women. Really. Not pretty. No. Now, I've aged to a place where, you know, well, as a parent, that I've gone through an awful lot. And when you have a good set of kidneys, you have a good head of hair. When you have trauma to the body, a lot of times your hair goes white, right? So I have a lot of trauma to my body. Yeah. My limbs are basically screaming at me, that left leg especially. You know, the calf area, the foot. I didn't go on the inversion table. I've taken a break for a while, but that would help if I hung upside down like a bat for a while. So that's it. We'll see how this turns out. This is my update. Sorry for the throat clearing.